Welcome to this audio on-demand webcast, How to Streamline Your Core Banking System Migration, presented by Amazon Web Services and Tech Mahindra. I'm your moderator, Paul Gillen. For bankers who aspire to the promise of digital transformation, legacy core banking systems can be a frustrating burden. The process of migrating to modern platforms is time-consuming and risky, with destabilization and downtime being constant concerns. Data migration requires careful planning and expertise in both legacy and modern cloud infrastructure. Regulatory issues must be addressed and audit trails put in place. For all these reasons and more, IDC has reported that nearly half of financial executives fear digital transformation will destabilize existing systems, create downtime, and increase operational risk. New cloud-based options are emerging, however, that can reduce implementation times to as little as an hour or less. They use automation, templates, and standardized platforms that protect IT investments long into the future. Today, we'll hear more about one such solution that hundreds of banks have used to quickly and efficiently modernize their full range of services, from credit and lending to deposits, account management, and payments. Joining me today are two experts who will tell you how the process works and the payoffs their customers have seen from these rapid migrations. Jay Kumar Soni is Principal Solution Architect for Business Product Center of Excellence at Tech Mahindra. Jay, thanks for joining us. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, hi, thanks. Thanks, Paul, for introducing me in brief. I'll give a bit more explanation about my role. So, hi, this is Jay Kumar Soni. I'm a Solution Architect with total 23 years of experience, including around 12 years into BFSI domain and in various technical roles. Out of that, around 9+ years experience I am having in solution design and technology architecture. That is in brief about myself, Paul. Thanks.
Thank you. Gopinath Chandran, Global Practice Head at Tech Mahindra, also joining us. Gopinath, tell us a little bit about your background.
Thank you, Paul. Hello, everyone. This is Gopi. I'm with Tech Mahindra, handling the role of Banking Product Center of Excellence as a global head. As a part of this role, I take care of solution architecting various core transformation programs. With an experience of close to 23 years in the industry, I've cut across different core banking solutions when it comes to implementation, upgrade, data migration, etc. So happy to be a part of this group, and I'm more than happy to share the solution that we are going to propose from TechM side. Thank you.
So let's get to today's topic. Gopi, you want to take us through the agenda?
Yep, sure. Thanks, Paul. From agenda point of view, over next 20 to 25 minutes, we'll be talking about the cloud opportunity. What is there in market when it comes to cloud, right? And what are the various challenges in adopting to the cloud faced by various financial entities? And in Tech Mahindra, what is it we have a solution to overcome those challenges, and what value proposition we have on the table? So this is how the agenda will flow for the today's webcast. So we'll go on to the next slide, Jay, where we'll just talk about the cloud adoption or the cloud opportunity. See, in recent times, maybe last few years, right, 5 to 10 years, we see there is a increased investment in core modernization activity from banks across the globe, right? When they say modernize the core, it is not only the core banking solution, but the whole overall platform is getting modernized. The way the core is communicating with external systems, how the data flow is managed, how are the interactions with various other external satellite systems are handled in terms of security and performance. So there are a lot of investments happening around the core modernization platform, and this has become the top priority of a bank CXO community, right? And when it comes to this particular topic of modernization, one common theme that most of the banks and the CXOs are thinking about is adoption to cloud, right? And it has become a default option because of various benefits that cloud adoption is bringing to the table, right? In terms of reduced cost, operational efficiency, and accelerating the product innovation, time to market. These are various known benefits that banks could get out of adopting to cloud, right? And if you have to compare between risk of maintaining the legacy platform and the risk to migrate, it was originally like risk to migrate was considered to be on the higher side. That had become a blocker for banks to move into the cloud side. Of late, the risk to migrate is going down thanks to various methodologies the OEMs and partners like Techem are bringing on to the system. So risk to maintain is kind of going high. For example, maintenance cost of the legacy monolithic boxes, the lack of agility in moving into the market if in case we have to increase the capacity to have improved customer experience, and the operational risks and tech debts, right? So these are the various risks that we call to maintain a legacy platform. So this is kind of going up every day. And this is actually putting risk to migrate on the lower side, right? The conversion risk and conversion cost, transformation effort, thanks to the solutions like this, what we are going to present in this webcast, is actually bringing down the risk to migrate. As a result, banks are trending more towards migrating into cloud and modernizing their core, taking advantage of various cloud native services that is available in CSPs like AWS.
So the risks of migration are falling. What types of clouds are bankers migrating to? Public, private, hybrid?
See, that's a good question, Paul, right? It is not one size that fits all. There are clients who are looking for OEM specific cloud that's a SaaS platform built on AWS kind of CSPs. There are tier one banks who prefer to have their own private cloud setup that's done on their own data centers. And there are clients who are in between tier one and tier three who prefer to have their own cloud tenancy, more of a private cloud to host their banking solutions and the overall platform on top of it. So as a partner with the discussion that we are having with various customers, we see the private cloud options are the one that's been preferred much by various bankers across the globe. So in this slide, we will a bit of deep dive on Temenos as a core banking solution, right? So it is kind of a 24% uptick when it comes to Temenos core banking solution. Fastest growing solution in the market that is capturing almost a CAGR growth rate of 24% just for the innovation and the R&D that the product is spending, right, year on year. And by moving into cloud, the Temenos core banking solution that is Transact, right, it has got various advantages to grab. There is a large pool of marketplace partners who are offering various surround solutions for a core banking need that is available, that could be leveraged directly by moving into cloud. And also as a Temenos solution on cloud, allowing us to create more and more products and offer to the wider range of customers with a good customer experience, right? Where the solution can scale, kind of elastic way at which it can scale down when there is an increased demand coming into flow, and at the same time it can scale down when the peak season is moving away. So this way, Temenos as a solution on cloud is helping customers to launch more and more products and have a global reach to the customers across the region that the client is operating. And the cloud native services also provide the product to have enhanced connectivity, and also the security aspects are different layers of the platform, right? So the native services, along with the native nature of the product itself, helps to build security at different layers that comes in line with the various recommended architecture principles when it comes to security.
Thanks, Gopi. Thanks for that brief introduction and explaining the importance about how Temenos Transact, our core banking platform, is growing up. And of course, it is also growing up from the cloud perspective, right? So when any client wants to move to cloud, right, there are always deliberations made and various pros and cons are identified, right? And usually what we have seen across the client base is that there are 6 major key challenges which we usually see from the client perspective. First of all, clients themselves don't have much of the, say, cloud enablement experience, right? They may have developed something on the cloud directly, but if they have a core banking platform and they want to move to the cloud, their own preparation may be lacking, their confidence level, their internal skills may be lacking. Of course, then they may not have even done the full analysis, right? Because they are still starting or entering in that journey. They may be in various phases of that cloud enablement journey, right? Not like a service provider where we have people who are skilled and ready to take on to that kind of enablement activities, right? Of course, and then as Paul and Gopi both mentioned, right, migration is an important part as well. So data to be migrated, and the holy grail, right, which we call like security, right? Security people are concerned, were concerned, and will remain concerned about it. But yes, with advancement of cloud and cloud providers, because they are simply ahead in the curve from the technology advancement perspective, right? Compared to any other clients which may be coming from the cloud development perspective. So definitely cloud providers like AWS, they are ahead in their security enablement, security apparatus, tools, technology, and technology advancement, which they bring into the table, right? And of course, when client wants to move to the cloud, the data sensitivity or data residency becomes a major issue. The jurisdiction where they are operating, right? They may have different level of constraints, rules, regulations, legal compliances to be followed. So that is another concern which usually clients are looking to solve. And then cloud or platform vendor lock-in as well, right? So of course, we have industry leaders like AWS who provides the cloud, acts as a cloud provider. But yeah, this kind of concerns usually the clients have, right? And definitely we as a service provider, along with the product offering which Temenos gives and AWS as a cloud provider, we can address all these concerns, and not only address this concern, but make sure that we are delivering a state-of-the-art platform for the client and making sure that they are themselves also enabled to take or maintain or run the platform afterwards.
Jay, we know that security was a major concern in the early days of the cloud, and you spoke to the fact that the cloud providers now provide some of the best security that's available. How does cloud security compare to on-premises?
That's a good question, Paul. So that's, as I mentioned, that usually that is presented as a main constraints during our discussions. And we, of course, all of the clients, they now know cloud, and they know when they approach AWS, AWS will also give them all the explanation and what all technological advancement they are bringing, right? So from our side, we can give the argument that any client or any financial institution, their main work is to serve the clients, right, on the finance domain, right? Their expertise is not into security, right? Even though they bring in the security experts from the market, or they have their own security, say, department taking care of various securities, right? But still, they are not up to the mark, and that is where the cloud provider and service providers like TechM comes into the picture, where we have people who are ready to be deployed, and then technologically advanced capabilities, tools, processes, and inbuilt mechanism like AWS provides, right? That is already available at the fingertip, right? You can just enable it, use those services which cloud provider provides, and we bring in the expertise, right, who can use those services and make sure that the appropriate security blanket is given to the client, right, which gives them the full confidence that yes, my platform is now secure within this cloud. So that is how, Paul, we try to address this. Cloud provider has more tools and technologically advanced mechanism available, and we have people who can come on board and deliver those technological advancement for the client. So with that, we talked about challenges, and of course then we have to also explain the benefits, right? Like one of them we discuss security, right? But apart from that, right, apart from solving those challenges, what other benefits we are bringing to the table, right, when we say we will move the platform to the cloud? So first of all is like enabling the business continuity, right? Cloud provides, say, 4.9 or 5.9 kind of availability for different services, and we can make sure that those are aligned and implemented in a way which meets the client's availability or continuity related requirements, right? And of course, along with this implementation, when we modernize the platform, right, where we are talking about legacy modernization, so make sure that support and services are also upgraded to that level that customer experience enhances, right? And overall, I'll not say that you have to make sure that you bring the total cost of ownership down, right? By default, if you don't pay full attention or you are not optimizing as you go forward, right, cloud cost may go higher, right? But that's where we come in and we provide our expertise, that we make sure that always the cost is kept in the equation while we are implementing the solution. Of course, as per the cloud philosophy, we tell them that, okay, this capex to opex is what the main benefit, because now you are not incurring, you're not procuring the softwares upfront, right? So you're not investing your capex or you're not blocking your capex there, but you pay as you move forward, right? So you have a better cushion from your financial maneuvering perspective as well. Of course, replacing proprietary technology when we move to cloud, we, as I mentioned, we try to improve the, say, platform is improved, also interfaces are improved, right? So proprietary technological benefit also we bring onto the table along with the upgrading, say, only the platform, right? So how platform interacts with the peripheral system, that also is improved. And with the advent of technology, and even OEMs also provide the near real-time information exchange like streaming, right, messaging and all that. So through that also, the STP or straight through processing of this core banking platform can be improved, or the overall processing time can be reduced through real-time information exchanges, like I mentioned, streaming and messaging. That all together, right, all these elements together will make sure that once the platform is ready, client is increasingly enabled to roll out newer features quickly, and that helps them in aligning themselves with the changing market dimensions or, say, dynamics, right? Because we know that financial landscape, BFSI, is an ever changing and highly regulated area where every now and then we keep getting new regulations, and all the clients have to abide by that, right? So that all together will help them move quicker. So more agility in maintaining the core banking platform. That is what we see as a major benefit out of it.
I know you mentioned that cost can be highly variable in the cloud, but should banks in general expect to save money by moving to the cloud?
Yes, Paul, indeed. So that is where I mentioned. So, and that will be in subsequent our explanation also, we will be coming to that. So because, say, for example, I am creating, say, my various environments for my platform implementation. And if I don't keep an eye on the usage or utility of it, right, they can keep lying, and AWS or any cloud provider for that matter will keep billing me, right? So that is why when we bring in the platform, we bring in with automation. So we make sure that every resource or every service which we are using on the cloud is used optimally, right? And when they are not used, you can strip down the environment, you can remove the services from it, and then you can save the cost. So it's a constant endeavor, and we enable client for that they becomes capable of managing it that way. So yes, I mean, it can go beyond your control, but that's where the automation and all the checks and balances we bring onto the platform, which helps it managing within the cost boundary which client defines. So we have already talked about cloud benefits and challenges. And now when actually we take up this kind of work, right, for cloud enablement or cloud movement, right, for the data center or core banking platform itself, various strategies needs to be applied, right? It's not only that one solution fits all, right? Depending on the application, not only the core banking system, but the peripheral systems, the way they behave, the way they interact with the core banking. Based on that, we decide either we want to replace that system or we want to rebuild using the cloud native technologies, or we want to just re-platform some of the systems, or we want to rehost, like refactor and re-architect, where more of the work is involved, more of the design solution implementation is involved, or we may want to retain something on premise, right, or just get rid of some of the things which is not at all required, right? So those kind of decisions, and that requires a tremendous amount of analysis of the existing data center or the platform and the peripheral integrations, how they work, right? So that whole landscape needs to be analyzed, and to make sure that we are approaching the movement or cloud enablement in an optimal way, right? So each of this strategy can be used for one or the other system depending on the nature of the system, and that helps banks or financial institutions to reap the real benefit of the cloud. Just moving one system onto the cloud may not be of much of a benefit, right? So our platform has to be enabled based on individual systems parameters and nature.
So when should a bank replace a legacy system rather than re-platform or rehost it?
Good question, Paul. So there are various factors, right? Like if the legacy system is monolith, right? Now with advent of technology, and as I mentioned, right, with it is a very highly regulated space. Now all these legacy systems built on legacy technologies, they are not very agile, or say not very suitable to keep pace with the changing landscape of banking solutions, right? And that poses the main hurdle, or say block, in for banks to offer these new regulatory requirements or new features, right? New products which are coming every day in the market in financial space. That is where this replacement or re-engineering or re-architecting comes into picture, right? So you replace your legacy, make a more modular, or say we will see as in the subsequent part, the more containerized workloads, right? Where you have finer control, and that's how you can improve the agility or maintainability of your core banking platform for the benefit of your end user customers.
Thanks, Jay. Having listened to the cloud enablement section, we just want to give a quick view of a cloud migration approach, right? So just to de-risk the risk of migration that we talked about in the first slide of this webcast, right? So we are kind of proposing a two-stage approach. One is like we can upgrade the existing core banking solution to a status of cloud compatibility, and then we migrate. Post migration to cloud, we can look at doing enhancements that we want to do in terms of functionality or in terms of technical frameworks. So this is at high level. So as I said, to de-risk, we proposed a two-stage migration approach to cloud. Stage one, it's pretty straightforward. It's a standard SDLC model wherein the existing core banking solution can be uplifted by doing a proper analysis of what needs to be done in terms of technicality to take the core banking solution to the latest release of the OEM and to make it cloud compatible. Once that is done, then we do a lift and shift from an on-prem setup into cloud, and then we will rewire all the integrations that we had on the on-prem setup to the cloud infra. So post rewire, we'll have to do a kind of testing and make the solution live, right? And this rewiring can be with the satellite systems running on their own on-prem setup. So we don't want to risk by having a big bang movement of the entire landscape into cloud. So as I said in stage one, we'll just migrate only the core banking application into cloud and have the integrations rewired as it is. As it is meaning we will let them run wherever they are running on their on-prem or on their SaaS, etc. We will not disturb. So in stage two, we go for the uplift both in terms of functional and technical, wherein we can start moving all the satellite systems onto the cloud as well, so that the latency related aspects can be reduced. And also we will use the option to enhance the product also, to start using the latest out of box features in terms of providing the benefits to the business, right? In stage one, we'll just technically uplifting, whereas stage two, we leverage to uplift the business functionalities and make the back office users or the end customers start leveraging the advancements that have come out in the latest release of the product. And at the same time, we will use the technical frameworks available in the product like Temenos to exchange data, to exchange files through various integration mechanisms and have them connected. Right? So this is what we would call it as an efficient approach when it comes to migrating an on-prem into cloud. And this is something that we have piloted in TechM and found this to be successful. So just wanted to share it with you all that this is something proven and would de-risk a cloud migration approach. With this, I'll hand it over back to Jay to continue with the webcast. Jay, over to you, Jay.
Thanks, Gopi. So that's a very good summary Gopi has given. And based on our past discussion, what we have done so far, as I was mentioning, right, along with the operational efficiency and agility and cost, right, we introduced the automation. Right? Now, the part which Gopi was mentioning, that once we are ready to leverage the cloud capability from the product perspective, then we move to the cloud. And when we move to the cloud, what we bring to the table, right, from the automation perspective. So this core banking Transact, which is a Temenos OEM provider core banking system, we deploy it automatically onto the AWS, right? And the slide which you are seeing is giving a very high level and very simplified architecture here. So number one, that whenever the user wants to access, right, so core banking itself comes with its own web UI and it has its own core engine behind it and the DB, right, database where the model bank data is loaded. So when client wants to access, it accesses the application through Elastic Load Balancer. These are all now AWS terminology. And Elastic Load Balancer will transfer the request back to the web container, which is again hosted onto the AWS cloud. Web container and application core, Transact core, talks with each other via Amazon MQ in between, which is number 3 depicted here. And the request which Transact core receives, right, it processes, it has its own engine there, and then it connects to the DB to bring the required information back or to complete the transaction. So that's the simplistic data flow which is depicted here. And this Transact core and web containers all are deployed onto Amazon ECS. So this is what we are using, and messaging is what we are using as Amazon MQ, which is number 3 shown here. So we are making use of all the AWS native services to create this architecture and deploy the application on top of it, right? So this infra gets created automatically and application containers are taken and then it gets deployed onto this infra to make sure that end-to-end connectivity is established. And when we enable client to access the URL of the web server through load balancer, it is accessible and works fine as soon as the deployment completes. All these configurations and everything is done automatically.
Jay, this one-click deployment sounds almost too good to be true. In fact, can most banks migrate that quickly?
Good question, Paul. Yes, I mean, not it is difficult to achieve, and that is where TechM as a service provider comes into picture, and that is where we are bringing this kind of enablers onto the table, right? So we have put in a tremendous amount of effort to make sure that this works in one click, right? So we have scripts developed, and we are using AWS capabilities for CI/CD enablements or automation. And of course, product OEM also provides us the capability of creating the containers, right? So we have put in an effort and created this automation platform, and that's where client will be able to benefit because of this. So yes, it is complex, but it is doable, and we have achieved it and presenting using for our clients. So with this automation, right, what value it is bringing in terms of dollar values, right? That is what we try to depict it here. So initially, when the OEM provides you the package, right, you have to create the container, then you have to create the infrastructure, and then you have to install it, you have to verify it, network connectivity has to be checked, established, then verified, right? In this whole process, right, and if provided that everything works fine in the first shot, right? Usually you consider that, okay, it may take 5 to 10 days initially first time, but ongoing basis, just as explaining this use case, we say it takes 5 days based on our experience, right? Once it is, all the issues are resolved and we could do it. Now, take a use case of typical upgrade project or a typical cloud enablement project. We just consider it around a year's time, which Gopi was explaining the approach, right? Two-stage approach. So let's say we could complete it in a year's time. And usually now clients follow the agile methodology. So we have to refresh all our root to live environment. Say there is a dev environment, there is a site environment, there is a UAT environment, there is a NFT environment, there is a pre-prod environment, right? So all these environment has to be refreshed with say 2 weeks cycles, right? Sprint. And so monthly we will be doing twice, and in a whole year, right, we may be doing it for say 24 times this kind of deployment with upgraded softwares, upgraded code, upgraded configuration, right? So every time we do this, it may take 5 days. We are reducing this into 30 minutes, and we can show the demo as required, but our automation creates the infra, deploys the application, enables all the network connectivity, and you hit the browser, everything is available and running in 30 minutes, right? So this savings, if we deploy a manual effort behind it, right? A person, 1 or 2% who is our transact administrators, who has cloud knowledge, of course, and they will be doing it for 5 days. And if you consider that cost comparing this automation, right, the savings, right, is in man days perspective, it is 474 man days of effort saved, and that comes around say 150K of USD savings in the dollar terms. That is per project per year. So if project is running longer, it will save longer, higher amount. Apart from that, that is the main dollar value savings effort perspective. But with automation, it comes up with usual benefits of that. It is reproducible, it is consistent, right? It reduces human error because it's everything is automated and tested. So you know it has once worked once, so it will work always, right? And that gives the confidence to the dev team, to the management, that okay, if my solution is deployed using this platform, it's going to work, right? If it is not going to work, it must have been taken care before it gets deployed. And with this technological advancement, right, infrastructure as a code, I have everything version control. Even my infrastructure is version control. So any change if I want, or if I face any issue I want to trace back, I can very well do that, right? So that brings in the efficiency and confidence, and that again another factor. Well, if I can link it back to your question, right, it can reduce the cost that way. That overall elapsed time or scheduled time we can shrink, and that cost benefit directly being passed on to the clients.
Well, Jay Soni and Gopi Chandran, thank you for sharing your insights on the critical strategic issues of modernization and migration, and for making a strong case for banks to move to cloud-native infrastructure and applications. We hope this conversation has informed our listeners about the risks and rewards and prepared them better to make the leap. To learn more about this topic, check the links on your console screen. Thanks to Amazon Web Services and Tech Mahindra for making this webcast possible. For CIO Marketing Services, I'm Paul Gillen. Have a great day.